Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka, and looking at our stories. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has highlighted a fresh set of risks to inflation outlook. The governor argued that this could impact the setting of the new policy rate in the coming days. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
Addressing members of the Monetary Policy Committee, the Bank of Ghana governor noted that these developments should act as a guide in whatever the members would do.
We must be aware, colleagues, of the risks. Risks going forward, such as a resumption of exchange rate volatility, crude oil price could increase, and the potential impact of some taxes to be imposed within the context of the mid-year budget review.
Dr. Johnson Esiama also maintained that the members should look at the current macroeconomic situation whatever decision that they will take.
And of course, how these can affect pricing behavior. Colleagues, these can cause a shift in inflation expectations, and they are risks that we cannot take lightly at all. So I encourage staff and MPC members to maintain a strong focus on these forward-looking risks, these policy trade-offs, and the need to provide credible guidance to the market. Our mandate, colleagues, is clear, and that is to maintain price stability while enabling the conditions for inclusive and sustainable growth.
He also gave a clean bill of health for the banking sector, as well as the fiscal situation.
Economic activity has picked up significantly. Provisional GDP data for the first quarter of 2025 indicates a real growth of 5.3% that is driven mainly by strong performance in agriculture and services. The banking sector, colleagues, remains stable, with improvements in liquidity, profitability, and solvency. The capital adequacy ratio, excluding regulatory reliefs, rose to 18.2% in June 2025. However, the non-performing loans ratio remains elevated at 23.1%, warranting continued supervisory attention.
Dr. Esiama also highlighted the role of monetary policy in stabilizing the economy and its impact on the business environment. But for some, the concerns raised by the governor of the Bank of Ghana showed that we should be measured in our expectations, especially for those who are looking forward to a huge cut in the policy rate.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Patrick Isuming is urging the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to tread cautiously in easing the policy rate, warning that despite ongoing disinflation, a significant reduction could negatively affect the economy. He's been speaking to Joy Business.
So I think that the governor's concerns are valid, and it's not necessarily fresh concerns as far as I'm concerned. I think that while we've made substantial progress on both the fiscal and the monetary side, we have to understand that the risks still remain and the challenges are still there. So on the basis of that, I think some level of caution is needed. Of course, if you look at the recent numbers, where growth is headed and where inflation is headed, you obviously think that the balance is tilted really toward the direction of an easing of the policy rate. But you have to understand that regardless of the substantial disinflation we are seeing, we are still not in our target band. The target band is 6%. And we are currently doing 13 plus. So I think the government caution. I don't think that we will see that significant reduction that people have been expecting. Now, outside of the content that the government is doing, I'm sure you also heard, we just played the voice of the IMF. And they have been adamant that monetary policy should be kept tight. Of course, even if you cut it by 100 basis points, it's still relatively tight. But to see a dramatic swing like the 400 basis point that some people are expecting, I think it's a little bit too much.
Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has cautioned the public about the recent rise in fraudulent investment schemes in the country. According to SEC, the schemes are not licensed and are designed solely to defraud the investing public. More in this report.
The SEC cautioned the public to be careful of the modus operandi used by the fraudsters. These include the use of images of public officials and influential persons in investment adverts, use of artificial intelligence to mimic voices, videos, and faces, as well as operate faceless entities on social media. The SEC also warned that the fraudulent schemes often promise unreasonably high returns within the shortest possible time. It assured that it is actively working with relevant law enforcement agencies to investigate and dismantle these fraudulent operations and will continue to take all necessary steps to protect investors.
And to some other stories, the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNET, Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini, has reiterated that SNET will not sell any of its assets, especially the Labadi Beach Hotel, under any circumstances. Speaking at the official launch of the Trust's 60th anniversary celebration in Accra, Mr. Baini addressed public concerns over SNET's hotel investments. More in this report.
The 60th anniversary celebration of SNET is expected to feature a series of activities highlighting the Trust's impact on social protection, pension administration, and investment in Ghana. Director General at SNET, Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini, said SNET is focused on optimizing its investment portfolio to ensure long-term sustainability and better returns for contributors.
I stand here today, and we are all gathered here. Labadi Beach Hotel, a beautiful edifice, is one of our investments wholly owned 100% by SNET. And we assure you that it will not be sold under our watch. Facing our imperfections, whilst we take pride in these compliments, we are also mindful that impact is not measured by investments alone. It's measured by how well we serve, how honestly we reflect, and how courageously we encourage. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, allow me to speak honestly about our journey. SNET has not always gotten everything right. There were times when we moved too slowly, systems that should have served better, decisions we made didn't always meet public expectations, and yes, at times we fell short.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, special guest of honor, noted in her remarks that since its inception, the Social Security scheme has evolved into a formidable national institution, protecting the livelihoods of millions of Ghanaians.
Distinguished guests, as we celebrate, we must also pause for reflection. We must aim to make the scheme stronger, more equitable, and more sustainable, and to broaden coverage to reach informal sector workers and the self-employed. The next phase of social security in Ghana must be driven by inclusion, sustainability, and adaptability.
Chief of Staff Julius Debra, chairman for the occasion, assured SNET of government commitment to supporting management in delivering on its mandate.
This Diamond Jubilee is an opportunity to reflect on a legacy of service and to reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthening and sustaining social security scheme for the future generations. I look forward to working closely with everyone to ensure that this important milestone leaves a lasting legacy and inspires confidence in the scheme.
SNET plans to embark on nationwide sensitization to educate Ghanaians, especially the youth, informal sector workers, and self-employed about the value of pension contributors and social security.
Now, government recorded a remarkable 264% oversubscription of Treasury bills a day after the Finance Minister presented the mid-year budget review to Parliament. The Bank of Ghana data showed that interest rates dropped further to 10.8%. Here's a Business Desk report.
Demand for the short-term instrument reached its all-time high as investors submitted bids worth 28.096 billion Ghana cedi. The government accepted 15.160 billion Ghana cedis as against a target of 7.701 billion Ghana cedis. About 13 billion Ghana cedis of the bids tendered, representing about 47.8%, came from the 91-day bill. The uptake was 5.078 billion Ghana cedis. A little over 8.719 billion Ghana cedis was also tendered for the 182-day bill. However, 1.723 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. For the 364-day bill, 5.941 billion Ghana cedis was tendered. About 4.3 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. Meanwhile, interest rate tumbled significantly across the yield curve. The yield on the 91-day bill went down by 289 basis points to 10.83%. That of the one.
We sincerely apologize for that last-minute hitch there, but we shall rectify that and bring you that story subsequently. Now, let's do something in the agricultural sector, because the Group Chief Executive for Agri Impact, Daniel Akwe, has called on government to consider establishing an agribusiness fund to support small-scale agricultural businesses in the country. According to him, the sector has been neglected despite the impact it has had on the economy and food security, hence the need for dedicated funding. He made the call at the National Agribusiness Dialogue here in Accra. More in this report.
Speaking at the sidelines of the maiden National Agribusiness Dialogue, Chief Executive of Agri Impact Limited, Daniel Akwe, stressed the need for adequate funding from government to support food production. He proposed an allocation of funds from sectors like the extractive industry to be used as agri-fund to support smallholder farmers and players in the value chain.
If you look at the extractive industry pays loyalties to governments. And if we can set a percentage of the royalties and the inflows that we get from the extractive industry, the mining and the oil industry, that these are extractive industry. Agriculture and agribusiness is regenerative industry. So if you have revenue coming from the extractive industry, set aside a percentage of it and pull it into an agri fund and use it to finance the one that is regenerative and that is more environmentally sustainable. And once we are able to do that, then as government, it's not every time that government is depending on development organization to bring grants before we can develop our agribusiness sector.
Meanwhile, in his keynote speech, President John Dramani Mahama has assured of adequate resources to build infrastructure in the agricultural value chain. He therefore disclosed plans by the 24-hour Economy Secretariat to consider locally produced items for all government procurement.
The government is also going to give preference to products manufactured in Ghana. And so as I speak, the 24-hour Plus Secretariat is compiling a comprehensive list of products that are manufactured in Ghana, including agro-processed products. And because government is the biggest spender in the economy, those products will be given priority in case of any procurement by any government agency. Before, it's only when they cannot find a product that is manufactured in Ghana that they will be permitted to buy a foreign product. This should give a good market to agri-business industries.
The dialogue is being organized by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness under the theme Researching Agribusiness for Inclusive and Sustainable Industrial Growth.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofuswe-Jare, told journalists that the dialogue is expected to end with an agribusiness policy that will be used by government. According to her, the draft policy will be ready before the end of the week to allow for further consultation before final approval by Cabinet.
Of this conversation, I'm expecting a policy that speaks to the issues of agribusiness, that solve problems and give opportunities, because it's tried learning that agribusiness can be a game changer. It's tried learning that agribusiness can change the fortunes of our economy and create a lot of jobs for our teeming youth, something for everybody in the chain. For the young people interested in technology, you heard the talks about drones, precision agriculture, manufacturing. There is something in for everybody. And so we want a policy that is investor friendly, that kind of encourages people to invest in that space. And so we're excited when the president says that in order to make the cost of doing business easy, cost of machinery will be waived. And so I know it will take time for this to come to fruition because we have to go through a process. But it's good. The intention is good. And we hope to see this in the policy that motivates people to invest in this space and create the jobs that we want. And also help us in import substitution and our exports. If people produce more, we will import less. If we are importing less, our city will be strong. If we produce more, we'll be able to export. Once we are exporting, we are working more, 24-hour economy, working around the clock, and then receiving foreign exchange for the things that we export. So agribusiness is huge. It is big. I'm excited that the president himself came to open the launch. It shows the seriousness that government is attaching to the agribusiness space. Of course, he birthed agribusiness, and so it is proper that he opens it to show to the Ghanaian community and the investor community that we are ready to do business in the agribusiness space. I am excited today.
Do we have any timelines for this policy to start implementation?
At the end of today, we are coming up with a draft, and so that's the bulk of the work. The rest will be more stakeholder consultation. I agree that not everybody is here. So once we come up with the draft today, close of day today, we will be able to fine-tune it, and then in just 1 week, we should be able to come out with a clean draft. This will be a zero draft. We can come out with the first draft in just 1 week, after which we will start our stakeholder consultation, and I'll be on my way to Cabinet.
Still within the agricultural sector, government is expected to announce a new producer price for cocoa in the coming days. We are learning that the announcement will be made by August 7, which is next Thursday. George Yafi tells us more.
Government is now going ahead to announce the new price after the technical committee finalizes work on reviewing all the factors and scenarios that goes into the pricing of the bean for farmers in Ghana here. We understand that the new price should have been set earlier following the end of the crop season on July 24, 2025. However, the Finance Minister, Dr. Tanosu, who was expected to do the announcement at that time, was working on the mid-year budget review. The Finance Minister, Dr. Tanosu, will make the set announcement in the coming days about the new prices for cocoa beans in Ghana here. Government has already promised that it would give cocoa farmers in Ghana at least 70% of the world market price of cocoa, which is currently selling at $8,329 a ton on the international market. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abe, earlier raised concerns about the city's sharp appreciation and the impact on setting new prices when it comes to the dollar cedi value and how they should offer cocoa farmers. The producer price is currently pegged at $3,100 per 64 kilo bag or $49,600 per ton.
You're still watching Business Live. We have more for you after this break. Welcome back to Business Live. Acting Deputy Chief Executive at the Food and Drugs Authority and also the Public Relations Specialist, who is Gayat Mensah, has advocated for impactful public relations management aligned with company performance. According to him, the practice of public relations has shifted from traditional activities, hence the need for industry players to look out for an approach that creates lasting impact. Gayat was speaking to Joy Business after addressing a far-side chat to Climax World PR Day in Accra.
As part of this year's World Public Relations Day Festival, Global Media Alliance hosted a fireside chat focused on the theme Dominant Coalition and Personal Branding. The session was designed to spark impactful conversations on leadership influence and individual positioning within the communications and PR industry. Speaking after the conversation, Acting Deputy Chief Executive of Food and Drugs Authority, Gayat Mensah, stressed the need for impactful public relations to spark growth.
Gone were the days when public relations dwelt in media, publicity, writing speeches, and things like that. Today, public relations is about organizational performance. It's about the extent to which organizations operate in such a way that makes them impactful. And when we talk about impact, we're talking about what impact are products making, what impact are operations making, and how are we even impacting on the community. There's a lot of talk today about purpose, and purpose lies at the base of impact.
Chief Director at Global Media Alliance, Emma Wenani, believes the event is part of initiatives to celebrate public relations practitioners across the country.
The idea was for us to actually celebrate an industry that people did not understand too well. I think one of the things that we've learned from today's fireside chat is that PR wears many hats. So people always feel like there's a lot of spinning when it comes to PR, but they forget about the storytelling, they forget about the impact creation, they forget about the relationships built. So that was the essence of why World PR Day was created.
And the fireside event as well.
Yes.
How come it came in? Because you don't normally see such events.
So we wanted to mark the 5 years anniversary with something bigger. So over the years, what we've done is just a normal summit where we talk about and celebrate PR. But this year, because it's 5 and it's a significant milestone, that's why we wanted to hear from 2 people who we felt have had a great impact on PR and can be able to guide us, those of us in the profession, those of us coming into the profession, on what it means to actually be a PR practitioner. That's why we created the Fireside Chat.
Global Media Alliance, together with partners, also unveiled performance of some local artists leveraging PR to enhance their works.
A wave of excitement is surging through the community of Tanosu after years of watching their youth leave for opportunities elsewhere. A major new cement factory is now rising from the ground. It's not just the construction creating work now, it is the firm promise of more than 1,000 local jobs once the plant opens that's fueling real optimism for a transformed future. And that's Sabit. That's more.
The roar of bulldozers and the clang of steel isn't just noise. It is the sound of long-awaited hope taking shape. The construction of this major cement factory here in Tanosu is more than just bricks and mortar. For residents here, it feels like the foundation of a brighter future. Like countless rural Ghanaian communities, the people for years were grappled with limited opportunities, watching its youth leave for Accra, Kumasi and other parts of the country in search of jobs. The groundbreaking of this factory is, however, seen by many as the answer to generations of economic prayers. This job will help the youth more because a lot of them left to other areas just because there are no jobs here. So this will definitely change the narrative. We all know what unemployment leads to, so we know very well that this particular job will help reduce joblessness and crime in general.
And that's our package by way of business life. I am Pius Kojobaka. We have more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Grateful serving you.